The time value of money is like this. Would you rather have $100 now or $100 next year? Most people would prefer the money now because they can use or invest it immediately. If someone promises to give you the money later, you probably want more than $100 to make up for the wait. Why it's important? Decision making helps in deciding between receiving money now or later. Inflation. The buying power of money decreases over time. So $100 might buy less next year than it does today. Opportunity cost. If you have money now, you can invest and earn more money from it. Examples. Immediate purchase. With $500 now, you could buy a TV today. Waiting cost. If you wait a year, maybe the TV costs more or isn't available. Or you simply might not want to wait. Interest. If someone wants to give you money later, they might offer $550 next year instead of $500 now. That extra $50 is like a payment for making you wait. This is often seen in bank savings accounts, where the bank pays you interest for keeping your money with them. Pros. Investment opportunities. Having money now can allow for immediate investments, potentially increasing wealth. Liquidity. Money now provides flexibility in spending or investing. Protection against inflation. Money's value generally decreases over time. Having it now safeguards its current purchasing power. Cons. Impulse spending. Immediate money can lead to unnecessary spending. Lost future opportunities. Might miss out on better future investment opportunities. Tax implications. Earning interest can lead to taxable income. Key terms: interest rate, IRR. This is like a rent for using someone's money. It's a percentage that tells you how much extra you'll get or owe over a time period. Present value, PV, the value of money right now. If someone offers you $500, the PV is $500. Future value, FV, the value of that money in the future. If you're promised $550 next year for a $500 investment today, $550 is the FV equation. This formula, FV equals PV, 1 plus ERT, is a way to figure out how much money will be worth in the future given an interest rate and time period. In essence, understanding the time value of money helps make smart financial decisions. Whether saving, investing, or borrowing, it's vital to consider what money is worth over time. The passage explains the importance of understanding the time value of money, TVM, when making financial decisions. Let's break down the importance of each component of TVM as applied in a calculation. Discount rate. This is the rate used to discount future values back to the present. The discount rate reflects the opportunity cost of capital, that is, what you might earn elsewhere with the money. In the bank example, the choice between a 5% and 6% interest rate demonstrates the importance of the discount rate in determining which option provides the best return. Duration. This represents the length of time over which the money is invested or borrowed. The longer the duration, the greater the effect of compound interest and discounting. In both examples provided, duration plays a critical role. In the lottery example, money is received over a 10-year period, and in the bank example, the investment is made for 5 years. Payment refers to the amount of money being discussed, whether it's the cash flow from an investment or the cost of a loan. In the lottery scenario, the payment is the annual sum of $600,000 over 10 years versus the lump sum of $5 million. Present value, PV. This is the value today of a sum of money that is received or paid in the future when discounted at a specific rate. It's a way to determine the worth of future cash flows today. The PV allows for an apples-to-apples comparison between different cash flow options. Future value, FV. This is what a sum of money invested today will be worth in the future, considering a certain interest rate and time period. It illustrates the power of compound interest. The formula FV equals PV, 1 plus IT provided in the passage, gives a clear mathematical representation of this concept. In summary, understanding the time value of money and its components is crucial in finance because it allows individuals and businesses to make informed decisions regarding investments, loans, and other financial commitments. The TVM concept underscores the fundamental idea that money available now is worth more than the same amount in the future due to its potential earning capacity. By applying the 5 components of TVM in calculations, one can better determine which financial options are most advantageous. Time value of money, TVM. Definition: the idea that a dollar today is worth more than a dollar in the future because of its potential to earn interest or returns. Why is it important? Helps determine the real value of money now versus later. Essential for making sound financial decisions. 5 components of TVM. Discount rate: the interest rate used to bring future amounts of money to today's value. Think of it as the reverse of interest you earn in a bank. Duration: how long the money is invested or borrowed. Payment: cash flows, either incomes or expenditures, occurring over time. Present value, PV: how much a future amount is worth right now. Future value, FV: how much a present amount will be worth in the future after earning interest. Simple examples: lottery win. $5 million now might be better than $6 million over 10 years because you can invest the $5 million now and potentially make more than $1 million in returns over the same period. Bank deposit: putting $100 in a bank offering 6% interest is better than a bank offering 5% because at 6%, your money grows faster. Pros of understanding TVM. Informed decisions: allows comparison of financial options to pick the best one. Maximized returns: helps in selecting investments that give the best return. Risk assessment: understanding TVM can help in assessing and managing the risks associated with financial decisions. Cons of TVM: requires assumptions. Calculations often require assumptions about future interest rates, which might change. Over-reliance: relying solely on TVM might ignore other important factors like tax implications or fees. Complexity: advanced TVM scenarios can become complex and require expertise to understand. In conclusion, time value of money is a cornerstone concept in finance. It helps individuals and businesses make better financial decisions by understanding the worth of money over time. Single period investment simplified: what is it? A single period investment is when you invest money for just one time frame, like a year. Why is it useful? With certain financial details, you can figure out how much your money will grow or shrink after that time period. 5 important components. Discount rate, IRR. This is the interest rate. It tells you how much extra money you'll get or owe based on your original amount. Duration, TORN. This is how long you're investing. For a single period, it's always 1 year. Payment, PMT. For single period investments, this isn't typically used as there's no recurring payment in that year. Present value, PV. This is the money you're starting with. Future value, FV. This is what your money will become after the investment period. How does it work? If you're investing for just 1 year, it's a single period investment. If it's more than 1 year, it's a multi-period investment. For a single period investment, you can use the formula FV equals PV asterisk 1 plus I. Here, FV is how much you'll have in the end, PV is how much you're starting with, and I is the interest rate. For example, if you put $100 in a bank for 1 year with a 3% interest rate, you'll have $103 by the end of that year. In short, a single period investment helps you see how much your money can grow in 1 year based on an interest rate. If you know your starting amount, PV, and interest rate, I, you can find out your end amount, FV. Single period investment, what is it? It's investing money for a short time, usually just 1 year. Simple example: you deposit $100 in a bank. After 1 year, with a 3% interest rate, you'll have $103. Why is it important? It helps predict how much money you'll have in the future, making it easier to plan and make financial decisions. Key components: Interest rate, I. The extra money percentage you earn. Duration, T. How long your money is invested. Here, it's just 1 year. Starting amount, PV. Money you first put in. Ending amount, FV. Money you'll have at the end. Pros. Simplicity. Easy to calculate with just two variables. Short-term planning. Great for quick financial decisions. Cons. Limited insight. Only useful for 1 year, not long-term planning. Fixed rate. Assumes interest rate remains the same, which may not always be the case. In essence, a single period investment tells you how your money grows in a year. Knowing this helps in making informed short-term financial choices. Multi-period investment summary. When dealing with financial data, a person can determine how much money will be worth in the future using calculations on present and future value. This helps in making informed financial decisions. There are important components in these calculations like the discount rate, how long the money is invested, payments, the initial amount, present value, and the expected amount in the future, future value. Investments can be for one or multiple periods. For multi-period investments, there are two main ways to determine the growth of the money. Simple interest. The interest earned is only based on the original amount, principal, and doesn't consider any interest that's already been added. Example, a $100 deposit with 5% simple interest will always give you $5 every year regardless of how long you keep it. Compound interest. Interest is calculated on the total account balance, which includes any interest previously earned. Example, a $100 deposit with 5% compound interest will result in $105 the first year. The next year, you earn 5% on $105, not just the initial $100. So you get $5.25, making the new total $110.25, and it keeps growing exponentially. In practice, compound interest is more common because it benefits from the interest on interest effect, making money grow faster over time compared to simple interest. What is it? When you invest money for multiple periods, like several years, it's a multi-period investment. Types of interest. Simple interest. You earn interest only on the original amount, principal, you put in. Compound interest. You earn interest on the total amount, including previous interest earned. Why is it important? Understanding how your investment grows over time helps you make better financial decisions. Key components of TVM: time value of money, discount rate, the interest rate used to figure out the value of future money in today's terms, duration, how long you're investing the money, payment, recurring payment in investments like annuities, present value, PV, money you start with, future value, FV, money you'll end up with in the future, pros and cons, pros of compound interest, higher returns. As your money grows, the interest you earn increases too. Benefit of time. The longer you leave your money, the more it grows. Cons of compound interest. Risks. Higher returns also mean higher potential losses in volatile investments. Requires patience. You need to leave your money invested to truly benefit. Pros of simple interest. Predictability. You know exactly how much you'll earn every period. Cons of simple interest. Lower returns. It doesn't grow as much as compound interest over time. In essence, knowing the difference between simple and compound interest and how they impact multi-period investments is essential for making informed decisions about where and how to invest your money. Compound interest can lead to significant growth over time, but it's important to understand the potential risks and benefits. Finance uses math to help make money decisions. They use 5 things: interest rate, time, payments, current value, and future value. One important concept is future value, which tells you how much money will be worth in the future if it earns interest. For example, if you have $500 now and it grows at 7% per year, in 10 years, it will be $983.58. This helps you plan for the future. Importance. Planning. It helps you plan how much your money will grow or shrink over time. Investing. It guides investment decisions by showing potential returns. Loans. Helps you understand how much you'll owe on loans. Pros. Informed decisions. You can make informed financial decisions. Investment. It helps you choose the best investment options. Budgeting. Useful for budgeting and saving. Cons. Assumptions. It assumes constant interest rates, which may not be realistic. Complexity. Can be complex for some financial situations. Risk. Doesn't consider investment risk. In simple terms, understanding future and present value helps you make smart money choices, but it has limitations and may not cover all situations. Simple explanation. Imagine you have some money and you want to know how much it will grow or shrink over time with interest. You also want to know how much money you should have today to reach a specific goal in the future. To do this, you need to consider things like the interest rate, how long you'll keep the money, and whether you'll add or take out money regularly. Examples: future value. If you have $500 now and put it in a savings account that gives you 7% interest every year, in 10 years, you'll have $983.58. Different interest. But if you put the same $500 in an account that gives 1% interest every month for 10 years, you'll have $1,650.19. Why it's important. Financial planning. It helps you plan for your financial future. You can figure out how much money you'll have for things like retirement or buying a house. Smart decisions. It helps you make informed decisions about loans, investments, and savings. You can choose the best options to grow your money. Pros. Informed choices. You can make decisions based on actual calculations, not guesses. Financial goals. It helps you set and achieve your financial goals. Cons. Complexity. It can get complicated with different interest rates, time frames, and payments. Assumptions. Calculations are based on assumptions like compound interest unless specified, so real-world results may vary. In a nutshell, understanding these financial calculations is like having a financial crystal ball. It helps you see into the future of your money and make wise choices. When we talk about the value of money, we often want to know how much it will be worth in the future. This concept is known as the future value, FV. To calculate this, we consider several things. What are we doing? Calculating how much a certain amount of money will be worth in the future based on interest rates and time. This is called finding the future value, FV. Why? So that we can make informed financial decisions, understanding how our money will grow or how much we'll owe. Components of time value of money, TVM. Present value, PV. The money you have now. Interest rate. The rate at which your money grows. Number of periods. How many times the interest is applied. Duration. The total time for which interest is applied. Payment. Regular amounts added or subtracted, not deeply covered here. Important concepts. The period of interest application, like annually or quarterly, should match with the interest rate, e.g. 3% per quarter or 5% per year. Quarter means every 3 months. Types of interest. Compound interest. Money grows by a percentage, and even the grown amount grows further. Simple interest. Money only grows based on the initial amount, not including the added interest. Example explained simply. You take a loan of $5,000 in July 2014. This loan grows by 3% every quarter or 3 months. Now, by January 2017, you want to see how much this loan has grown. Since July 2014 to January 2017 is 2.5 years or 10 quarters, you'll calculate its value over these 10 quarters using the compound interest method. Result, $6,719.58. In January 2015, you take another loan of $5,000. This loan grows at 5% every year. By January 2017, 2 years have passed, so you'll calculate its growth over these 2 years, but using the simple interest method. Result, $5,500. Now, if you combine these two amounts to see how much you owe in total by January 2017, it's $12,219.58. Why is this useful? It helps us understand our financial commitments in the future and plan accordingly. Knowing how much you owe or how much your investment will grow can help in making better financial decisions. Important to remember. Make sure the interest rate and the time period match. For instance, if the interest rate is quarterly, the time should be in quarters too. The interest can be simple, only on the original amount, or compound, interest on the original amount plus interest earned. Simple explanation. When you want to make a financial decision, like taking a loan or investing money, you need to know how much that money will be worth in the future. To do this, you consider things like how long you'll keep the money, the interest rate, and whether it's simple or compound interest. Example, let's say you borrow $5,000 on July 1, 2014, and another $5,000 on January 1, 2015. The first loan has 3% interest every 3 months, and the second has 5% interest per year. You want to know how much both loans will be worth on January 1, 2017. Why it's important. Smart planning. It helps you make wise financial choices. You can plan how much money you'll have in the future for things like paying back loans or saving for goals. Understanding loans. You can figure out how much you'll owe on loans and if it's a good deal. Pros. Informed decisions. You can make financial decisions based on real numbers, not guesses. Financial goal setting. It helps you set and achieve your financial goals. Cons. Complexity. It can be a bit complicated, especially with different types of interest and time frames. Assumptions. Different interest. But if you put the same $500 in an account that gives 1% interest every month for 10 years, you'll have $1,650.19. Why it's important. Financial planning. It helps you plan for your financial future. You can figure out how much money you'll have for things like retirement or buying a house. Smart decisions. It helps you make informed decisions about loans, investments, and savings. You can choose the best options to grow your money. Pros. Informed choices. You can make decisions based on actual calculations, not guesses. Financial goals. It helps you set and achieve your financial goals. Cons. Complexity. It can get complicated with different interest rates, time frames, and payments. Assumptions. Calculations are based on assumptions like compound interest unless specified, so real-world results may vary. In a nutshell, understanding these financial calculations is like having a financial crystal ball. It helps you see into the future of your money and make wise choices. When we talk about the value of money, we often want to know how much it will be worth in the future. This concept is known as the future value, FV. To calculate this, we consider several things. What are we doing? Calculating how much a certain amount of money will be worth in the future based on interest rates and time. This is called finding the future value, FV. Why? So that we can make informed financial decisions, understanding how our money will grow or how much we'll owe. Components of time value of money, TVM. Present value, PV. The money you have now. Interest rate, the rate at which your money grows. Number of periods, how many times the interest is applied. Duration, the total time for which interest is applied. Payment, regular amounts added or subtracted, not deeply covered here. Important concepts, the period of interest application, like annually or quarterly, should match with the interest rate, 3% per quarter or 5% per year. Quarter means every 3 months. Types of interest. Compound interest. Money grows by a percentage, and even the grown amount grows further. Simple interest. Money only grows based on the initial amount, not including the added interest. Example explained simply. You take a loan of $5,000 in July 2014. This loan grows by 3% every quarter, or 3 months. Now, by January 2017, You want to see how much this loan has grown. Since July 2014 to January 2017 is 2.5 years or 10 quarters. You'll calculate its value over these 10 quarters using the compound interest method. Result: $6,719.58. In January 2015, you take another loan of $5,000. This loan grows at 5% every year. By January 2017, 2 years have passed, so you'll calculate its growth over these 2 years, but using the simple interest method. Result: $5,500. Now, if you combine these two amounts to see how much you owe in total, by January 2017, it's $12,219.58. Why is this useful? It helps us understand our financial commitments in the future and plan accordingly. Knowing how much you owe or how much your investment will grow to can help in making better financial decisions. Important to remember: make sure the interest rate and the time period match. For instance, if the interest rate is quarterly, the time should be in quarters too. The interest can be simple, only on the original amount, or compound, interest on the original amount plus interest earned. Simple explanation: when you want to make a financial decision, like taking a loan or investing money, you need to know how much that money will be worth in the future. To do this, you consider things like how long you'll keep the money, the interest rate, and whether it's simple or compound interest. Example: let's say you borrow $5,000 on July 1, 2014, and another $5,000 on January 1, 2015. The first loan has 3% interest every 3 months, and the second has 5% interest per year. You want to know how much both loans will be worth on January 1, 2017. Why it's important. Smart planning. It helps you make wise financial choices. You can plan how much money you'll have in the future for things like paying back loans or saving for goals. Understanding loans. You can figure out how much you'll owe on loans and if it's a good deal. Pros. Informed decisions. You can make financial decisions based on real numbers, not guesses. Financial goal setting. It helps you set and achieve your financial goals. Cons. Complexity. It can be a bit complicated, especially with different types of interest and time frames. Assumptions. A graph showed that if you're looking 100 years ahead, the value of $1,000 decreases a lot more with higher interest rates. For instance, at 7% interest, $1,000 becomes practically worthless in 75 years. In short, understanding the time value of money helps us know the real value of money over time, whether we're looking at 1 year or multiple years. It helps us make better investment choices. Simple explanation: money you have today is more valuable than the same amount in the future because you can use it now or invest it. So when making financial decisions, you need to understand how money grows or shrinks over time. Example: imagine you have $100 and you could either use it now or invest it for a year. If the interest rate is 3%, it means you'd be willing to pay $3 to have that $100 a year sooner. So the value of that $100 now is $97. Why it's important? Smart decisions. It helps you make wise financial choices. You can decide whether it's better to have money now or later. Investment understanding. Essential for investments and loans. You can figure out how much your money will grow or how much you'll owe. Pros. Informed choices. You can make financial decisions based on real calculations, not guesses. Goal setting. It helps you plan and achieve your financial goals. Cons. Complexity. It can get tricky with different interest rates and time periods. Assumptions. Calculations rely on some assumptions, like compound interest, so real results may differ. When you think about money's value changing over time, it helps you make better financial decisions. It's like having a money time machine that shows you how your money will change in the future. Time value of money, TVM. Components. When making financial calculations, you need to consider 5 important parts. Discount rate. The rate used to find out what future money is worth today. Duration. How long you're looking at for your money. Payment. How much money is being talked about? Present value, PV. The value of money right now. Future value, FV. How much that money will be worth after some time. What is discount rate? Discounting means figuring out the value of future money in today's terms. The discount rate takes into account different costs to the person lending or investing money. These costs include opportunity cost, the what-if cost. What could you have done with the money if you hadn't lent or invested it? Inflation. Over time, the value of money goes down, meaning things become more expensive. This is a cost because the money you get back later might not buy as much as it could have today. Risk. The chance that you might not get your money back. Liquidity. The ability to easily use your money. If it's tied up in an investment, you can't spend it elsewhere. Banks and lenders use the discount rate to decide loan terms. How does discount rate work with PV? To find out the present value or what money is worth today, you use the discount rate. For instance, if you know you'll get $1,000 next year and the discount rate is 5%, that money is worth $952.38 to you today. This is because of the costs mentioned above. The higher the discount rate, the less the future money is worth now. In short, the discount rate helps us understand the true value of future money in today's terms by accounting for various costs. The 5 components of time value of money, TVM, are essential for making smart financial decisions. Discount rate. This represents the cost to the investor or creditor for waiting to receive money in the future. It includes costs like opportunity cost, inflation, risk, and loss of liquidity. Essentially, it's the interest rate used to find out what a future sum of money is worth today. Duration. This refers to the length of time over which you're considering the value of money. It's essential because money's value changes over time. A dollar today is not the same as a dollar in the future. Payment. This is the amount of money you're dealing with, either as an investment or a loan. You need to know how much money you'll receive or pay. Present value, PV. This is the current value of a future sum of money, considering the discount rate. It tells you how much a future amount is worth today. Future value, FV. This is the value of a sum of money at a future point in time, considering the discount rate. It helps you determine how much a present amount will grow to in the future. Why it's important. Smart decisions. These components help you make wise financial choices. You can decide whether to invest, take a loan, or spend your money based on calculations. Accurate planning. They allow you to plan for the future by understanding how the value of money changes over time. In simple terms, these components help you answer questions like, how much will my money be worth in the future? Or how much should I invest today to reach a financial goal? Understanding these components is like having a financial compass to guide your decisions. When making financial decisions, it's essential to calculate how much money will be worth in the future value or FV, and its current worth, present value or PV. Here are the key ideas. Period. It's just a specific length of time. It could be a month, year, or even a decade. What's crucial is that it's clear and doesn't change during the investment. Number of periods N. This tells us how many of these time lengths there are. If the period is a year and your investment lasts 5 years, then N is 5. Discount rate and periods. The discount rate, interest rate, must match the period. So if your period is 1 year, the discount rate should be for a year, like 5% per year. If it's a month, the rate should be for a month. Future value, FV, calculation. It's a formula that uses the present value, the interest rate, and the number of periods to tell you how much your money will be worth in the future. Basically, PV, the money you start with, times a factor that accounts for interest and time. Simple versus compound interest. Simple interest. If you earn a set amount of interest, say $30, in one period, you'll earn the same in all other periods. So over 5 periods, you earn 5 times $30. Compound interest. This is a bit trickier. The interest you earn in one period will itself earn interest in the next period. So your money grows faster over time. Relation of time to value. The longer the time, or more the periods, the higher the future value will be if the interest rate stays the same. But the present value would be lower in comparison. In short, when figuring out financial stuff, it's essential to understand the time period you're looking at, the interest rate for that time, and whether the interest is simple or compound. This helps decide if an investment is worth it or not. The number of periods is just a fancy way of saying how long you're dealing with when it comes to money. It could be any length of time, like a month, a year, or even a decade, but it has to be clear and fixed. Think of it as a unit of time that helps you figure out the value of money. In finance, the number of periods is super important because it affects how money grows or shrinks over time. If you're dealing with simple interest, you just multiply the number of periods by the interest rate to see how much money you'll make. But if you're dealing with compound interest, things get more exciting. The number of periods affects how money compounds, meaning you earn interest not just on your original money, but also on the interest you've already earned. So if you have more periods, your money can grow faster. In simple terms, the number of periods helps you understand how long you're in it for when it comes to your money. Whether it's for a short time or a long time, it changes how much your money is worth in the future. So it's a big deal when you're making financial decisions. Number of periods in finance is like measuring time for your money. It's how long you're talking about when you think about cash. But it's not just any time. It's a specific fixed chunk of time, like a month, a year, or a decade. Here's why it's crucial. Simple example. Imagine you put $100 in a savings account and it gives you 5% interest each year. If you wait for 1 year, one period, you'll have $105 because you earned $5 in interest, 5% of $100. If you wait for 2 years, two periods, you'll have $110.25 because you earned interest on both your $100 and the $5 interest from the first year. Importance? Time matters. The number of periods shows how long your money has to grow or shrink. It's like knowing whether you have a sprint or a marathon ahead. Smart planning. It helps you decide when to invest or save based on your goals. More periods could mean more growth. Interest impact. It influences how much interest you earn or pay on your money. Compound interest, where you earn interest on interest, depends on the number of periods. Pros. Earnings. More periods can lead to more interest or growth on your investments. Goal planning. It helps you plan for future financial goals with precision. Cons. Patience. If you're in a hurry, more periods might mean waiting longer for your money to grow. Complexity. Sometimes, dealing with many periods can make financial calculations more complicated. So, understanding the number of periods is like knowing whether you're in a quick sprint or a long-distance race with your money. It guides your financial decisions and impacts how much you'll earn or owe over time. Effective annual rate, EAR, is like a super interest rate that takes into account how often interest is added to your money during the year. It helps you compare different interest rates more easily. Simple example. Imagine you have two savings accounts. One offers 6% interest, compounded monthly 12 times a year, and the other offers 5% interest, compounded quarterly 4 times a year. The EAR helps you figure out which account gives you more bang for your buck by considering how often interest gets added. Importance. Apple-to-apple comparisons. It helps you compare interest rates that compound at different frequencies. This way, you can see which one is truly better. Real earnings. You get to know the actual rate at which your money is growing, considering compounding. It's like understanding your money's true superpower. Smart decisions. You can make informed choices about where to save or invest your money by knowing the real growth rate. Pros. Accurate comparison. EAR lets you accurately compare different interest rates, ensuring you choose the best option for your savings. Realistic returns. It gives you a more realistic picture of how your money grows over time. Cons. Complex calculations. Calculating EAR can be a bit more complex than just looking at nominal interest rates. Different periods. You need to know how often interest compounds in each investment to use ER effectively. So, understanding the effective annual rate is like getting the superhero version of your interest rate. It helps you make fair comparisons and ensures you're making the most of your money's growth potential. When we talk about interest rates, there are two kinds to keep in mind. Nominal interest rate. This is the interest rate you commonly see, like 7% per year. But this doesn't always show the full picture. Effective annual rate, EAR. This rate gives a better picture of how much interest you're actually earning or paying in a year, especially when the interest is added up multiple times within that year, like monthly or quarterly. Important points. Matching units. To work out future and present values, the time frame, like a year or month, and the interest rate for that time frame need to match. Compounding. Interest can be added to your account multiple times in a year. For instance, 12% compounded monthly doesn't just mean 1% per month for 12 months. Due to compounding, the interest you earn each month also earns interest in the following months. Finding the EAR. There are formulas to calculate EAR depending on how often interest is added. For example, with 8% interest that's added quarterly, the EAR is slightly more than 8%. Using the EAR, when figuring out how much money you'll have or owe in the future, use the EAR, not the nominal rate. Different compounding periods. If you're trying to figure out how much money you'll have in a certain number of years, but your interest compounds monthly or quarterly, etc., there are formulas to help. They adjust for these different compounding times. Figuring out the number of periods. If you know how much money you started with, how much you want to end up with, and the interest rate, there's a way to find out how many time periods, like years, it'll take. In short, the effective annual rate, EAR, is a more accurate measure of interest for a year, especially when interest is compounded more than once in that year. Using the EAR helps make financial calculations more precise. Effective annual rate, EAR, is like the real deal of interest rates, considering how often your money grows within a year. It's important for comparing and understanding interest rates better. Simple example. Let's say you have two bank accounts. Account A offers 5% interest, compounded quarterly, 4 times a year, and account B offers 6% interest, compounded monthly, 12 times a year. The EAR helps you decide which account is actually giving you more money. Importance. True comparison. It helps you compare apples to apples when interest is compounded at different frequencies. Real earnings. EAR shows you how much your money really grows over a year, considering all the compounding. Smart choices. You can make informed decisions about where to put your money, knowing which option truly benefits you more. Pros. Accurate comparison. EAR ensures you're comparing interest rates correctly, so you choose the best option. Realistic returns. It gives you a real picture of how your money grows over time. Cons. Math complexity. Calculating EAR can be a bit trickier than looking at simple interest rates. Compounding knowledge. You need to know how often interest compounds in each investment for EAR to be useful. In a nutshell, EAR is like the magic glasses for understanding interest rates. It helps you compare and choose the best options for your money, taking into account how often it grows during the year. Fractional time periods in finance can get a bit tricky, but here's the simple idea. Balance of the account. Imagine you have an account that earns interest over time. If you want to know the actual amount of money in the account at a specific time, you need to round down the time to the nearest full compounding period. Even if you're close to the next period, you can't count the interest for that period until it's actually paid. Future and present value. However, if you want to know the future value, FV, or present value, PV, of money at a specific time, you can use fractional time periods in your calculations. This is because these calculations focus on the overall cost of not having your money during that time, regardless of when interest is paid. Importance. Fractional time periods are important because they help us be precise in financial calculations. They make sure we're not counting interest before it's actually earned or paid. Pros, precision. They allow for precise calculations when dealing with the time value of money. Accurate comparisons. Ensure you're comparing financial values accurately. Cons. Can be confusing. Dealing with fractional time periods can be confusing, especially when calculating account balances. In a nutshell, when finding the actual balance of an account, round down to the nearest full compounding period. But when calculating future or present values, you can use fractional time periods to get more accurate results. Fractional time periods in finance can be a bit puzzling, but let's break it down. Balance of the account. When you have an account that earns interest over time, the account balance only changes when interest is actually paid. To find the balance, you need to round the fractional time period down to the last period when interest was paid. This ensures you're not counting interest before it's earned. Future and present value. However, when calculating future value, FV, or present value, PV, of money, you can use fractional time periods. This is because these calculations focus on the overall cost of not having your money during that time, regardless of when interest is paid. So fractional time periods can be used in these calculations. Importance. It's crucial to understand fractional time periods because they help us make precise financial calculations. They ensure we're not overestimating or underestimating the value of money. Pros, precision. Allows for precise calculations, accurate comparisons, ensures accurate comparisons of financial values. Cons. Complexity. Dealing with fractional time periods can be complex, especially when calculating account balances. Now let's look at a simple example. Suppose you have $1,000 in an account with a 5% annual interest rate that compounds quarterly. You want to know the balance after 2.5 years, which is halfway between two quarterly compounding periods. Balance. If you're calculating the account balance, you round down to the nearest complete quarter, 2.25 years, since interest was last paid at the end of the second year. So you find the balance as of the eighth quarter. Future value, FV. If you're calculating the future value, you'd use the exact 2.5 years as your time period. This is because FV calculations consider the entire cost of not having your money during that time. In summary, when figuring out the balance, round down to the nearest full compounding period. But when dealing with FV or PV calculations, you can use fractional time periods for precision. Time value of money, TVM. What is it? TVM is the concept that the value of money changes over time due to interest and inflation. It's important in finance to make decisions about money and investments. Example, if you have $100 now and you can invest it to earn interest, it will be worth more in the future. Conversely, $100 in the future is worth less today due to inflation. 5 components of TVM. Discount rate. This is like the cost of not having your money right now. It's the interest rate used to calculate present and future values. Duration. The length of time the money will be invested or borrowed for. Payment. The amount of money you're putting in or taking out of the investment. Present value, PV. The current value of money that will be received in the future, taking into account the discount rate. Future value, FV. The value of money at a future point, taking into account the discount rate. Fractional time periods. When we deal with periods that aren't exact multiples of the compounding period, like fractions of a year, we need to adjust calculations. If asked for FV or PV, we use the fractional time period directly. If asked for the account balance, we round down to the nearest whole number of periods. Importance of details. When calculating FV/PV, the interest rate is about the cost of not having the money for a period, so even for fractional periods, it matters. For account balance, round down to the last whole period with interest earned. The balance doesn't change until interest is added. Compounding periods. These are the intervals at which interest is paid. Different frequencies, continuously, monthly, quarterly, yearly, affect how fast the balance grows. Graphs show how different compounding frequencies affect the growth of an investment over time. Pros and cons. Pros: informed decisions. Helps people make better financial decisions by understanding how money grows over time. Investment planning guides people on how to invest money for maximum growth. Clearer account management explains how account balances change over time due to interest. Cons: complexity. Calculations can be complex, especially when dealing with fractional time periods. Assumptions: assumes stable interest rates and doesn't account for unexpected changes. Sensitivity to inputs. Small changes in discount rates or periods can lead to significant differences in calculated values. Understanding TVM helps individuals and businesses plan better for their financial future, make wise investment choices, and manage their funds more effectively. However, it requires careful attention to details and assumptions, and the calculations can get quite intricate in certain situations. Future and present value of money. What is it? When someone has financial information, like investments or loans, they figure out how much money will be worth in the future or how much it's worth today. This helps make smart money choices. Components of TVM. To do this, they use 5 things: discount rate, how much money is worth less over time; duration, how long; payment; present value, what money's worth now; and future value, what it'll be worth later. Present value calculation. What is it? Figuring out how much money today is worth the same as money in the future with a certain interest rate. Simple or compound interest. First, see if the interest is simple, only on the original money, or compound on the total, including old interest. Inputs for present value, future value. How much money is there in the future? Interest rate, discount rate. How much interest is added over time? Number of periods. How long the money is invested/borrowed for. Consistent units. Make sure interest rate and time are in the same units, like years. Assumption. Usually, assume interest compounds, gets added. Calculating future and present values helps in making decisions about investments and loans. People use these calculations to see how money changes over time and choose the best financial options. It's often more complex with compound interest, but if you keep units consistent, you can plug the numbers into the equations. 5 TVM components importance. When doing these calculations, 5 things matter. Discount rate. This is like the cost of not having money now. It's the interest rate used. Duration. How long the money is involved. Payment. How much money is there? Present value. PV. What future money is worth today? Future value. FV. How much money will be in the future? Calculating present value. PV. Check if interest is simple or compound. If simple, use a simple interest formula. If compound, use a rearranged formula. Inputs for PV calculation. Future value. Money's future worth. Interest rate. Percentage of interest paid each period. Number of periods. How long the money's involved. Important points. Usually, interest compounds, so use the compound formula. Make sure units for time and interest match. If using software like Excel, it's set for compounding. Consistency in units is key, like using years for both time and interest. Calculating present value helps us understand how much money now is equivalent to a future amount, considering interest. It's usually about compound interest, and making sure units match is vital for accurate calculations. Calculating present value, PV, is all about figuring out how much a certain amount of money in the future is worth today, considering a specific interest rate. Let's simplify this concept. Importance. Calculating PV is crucial in making financial decisions. It helps you determine the current value of future cash flows, allowing you to assess investments, loans, or any financial choice. Pros. Informed decisions. Helps you make informed financial decisions by assessing the value of future money today. Precision. Provides precise values for future cash flows. Cons. Complexity. Can be complex when interest rates and time periods have different units. Example: Suppose you have $1,000 and you want to know how much it's worth today if you can earn 5% interest on it for 3 years. Identify the type of interest. In most cases, it's compound interest. Ensure consistent units for interest rate and time periods. If the interest rate is 5% per year and you're looking at 3 years, the units match. Use the PV formula. FV, future value, is $1,000. Bar, interest rate, is 5% per year, so 0.05. And number of periods is 3 years. Plug in these values. PV equals 1,000 slash 1 plus 0.05 carat 3 PV equals 863.84, so $1,000 you receive in 3 years with a 5% interest rate is worth $863.84 today. In summary, calculating PV helps you understand the current value of future money, allowing for wise financial planning and decision-making. It ensures you're not overestimating or underestimating the worth of future cash flows. Calculating present value, PV, in finance helps you figure out how much a future sum of money is worth today. Let's simplify this concept and explore its importance, along with some pros and cons. Simple versus compound interest. First, you need to determine whether the interest is simple or compound. Compound interest is more common, where you earn interest on both your original amount, principal, and the interest you've previously earned. With simple interest, you only earn interest on the principal. Consistent units. Make sure the interest rate and the number of periods have consistent units. If the interest rate is given as an annual percentage, your number of periods should be in years. Importance: informed decisions. Calculating PV helps you make informed financial decisions by understanding the value of money over time. Investment evaluation. It's crucial for evaluating investments, loans, or any financial opportunity where you need to know the present worth of future cash flows. Pros: financial planning. Helps in financial planning and budgeting by showing the value of future cash flows today. Comparison. Allows for easy comparison of different investment options. Cons. Complexity. Can become complex when dealing with multiple cash flows or varying interest rates. In summary, calculating PV is essential for understanding the current value of future cash flows. It helps in making smart financial choices and evaluating investments. Comparing interest rates is crucial when making financial decisions, but it's not just about comparing nominal values. Let's break down this concept in simple terms, explain its importance, and discuss the pros and cons. Simple explanation. Comparing interest rates means determining which option offers a better deal in terms of earning interest on your money or paying interest on a loan. It's essential to consider factors like inflation and compounding. Importance: smart financial decisions. Helps you make informed choices when saving, investing, or borrowing money. Avoiding losses. Ensures you don't lose money due to inflation or high interest costs. Optimizing investments. Enables you to choose investments that offer higher returns after accounting for inflation. Pros: informed decisions. Allows you to make financial decisions that align with your goals and financial well-being. Accounting for compounding. Considers how interest compounds, providing a more accurate picture. Comparing apples to apples. Helps you compare different investment or loan options effectively. Cons. Complexity. Requires understanding concepts like nominal interest, real interest, and the Fisher equation. Changing factors. Interest rates and inflation can change, affecting your calculations. Now let's illustrate with a simple example. Suppose you have two investment options. Company A offers a 5% annual return, but it's in a country with 4% expected inflation. Company B offers a 3% annual return, and it's in a country with 1% expected inflation. You might think Company A is the better choice because it offers a higher nominal interest rate, 5% versus 3%. However, comparing nominal rates alone isn't enough. By using the Fisher equation, you calculate the real interest rates. for company A, 5%, 4% equals 1% for company B, 3%, 1% equals 2%. Now, you see that company B offers a higher real interest rate, 2% versus 1%, making it the better investment choice, even though it had a lower nominal rate. Additionally, it's important to consider your cost of capital. If, for an instance, your company's cost of capital is 13%, you should only invest in opportunities that offer returns higher than 13%. Even if an investment sounds attractive at 10% returns, it's not worthwhile if your cost of capital is 13%. Cost of capital. Companies also consider their cost of capital, which is the return they could earn on an alternative investment with similar risk. If a company's expected return on an investment is less than its cost of capital, it may not pursue that investment. In summary, comparing interest rates is crucial for making informed financial decisions. It helps you understand the real value of money, especially when accounting for factors like inflation and cost of capital. Calculating future and present value. A graduate uses financial data to find out how much money will be worth in the future, future value, and today, present value. This helps make smart money decisions. Importance of TVM components. 5 things matter when doing this. Discount rate. It's like the cost of not having money right now. Duration. How long the money is involved. Payment. The amount of money. Present value. PV. What future money is worth today. Future value. FV. How much money there will be in the future. Considering variables. Things like compounding, interest on interest, inflation, rising prices, and cost of capital, return on investment, are important before comparing interest rates. Effective interest rates. The real interest you get isn't just the nominal rate. Interest compounds, making it more. Effective annual rate, year, calculates the real rate considering compounding multiple times a year. Real interest rates. Interest rates are set partly to counter inflation, which reduces money's value over time. Fisher equation helps find real interest by subtracting expected inflation from nominal rate. Cost of capital. It's important if interest is more than your cost of capital, return on similar risk investment. Companies won't invest if expected return is less than their cost of capital. All these factors help understand how much money will be worth, account for inflation, and make wise investment choices. Just comparing nominal interest rates isn't enough. You need to consider the real interest and your cost of capital too. Time value of money, TVM, is a concept that helps us understand the value of money over time. When you're dealing with financial decisions like borrowing or investing, TVM helps you figure out how much money is worth today and in the future. There are 5 important things to consider. Discount rate. This is like the interest rate. It's important because it tells you how much you can earn or save by waiting or investing your money. Duration. How long the money is involved matters. The longer the time, the more your money can grow or change in value. Payment. This is about the money coming in or going out. You need to know how much money is being paid or received. Present value. This is the value of money right now. It helps you understand how much money you need today to match a certain amount in the future. Future value. This is what your money will be worth in the future after growing or changing in value. Example. Imagine you have $100 now, and you can either invest it at a 5% interest rate or keep it for 5 years. You need to decide if you should invest or not. TVM helps you figure out what the $100 will be worth in 5 years if you invest, and if that's better than just keeping $100. Importance. TVM is important because it helps us make smart money decisions. It lets us compare different options and understand how money changes over time. Without TVM, we might not realize that a lower interest rate with less frequent compounding might actually be better for us in the long run. Pros. Helps us compare options and make better financial decisions. Shows the real value of money by considering factors like inflation and compounding. Useful for planning savings, investments, and loans. Cons. It can get complicated when dealing with multiple factors like different compounding frequencies and inflation rates. Assumes consistent interest rates and no unexpected events, which might not always be true. Some calculations might be challenging for people who are not familiar with math or finance. Remember, understanding TVM can make you better at managing your money wisely and making informed financial choices. Interest rates. They're not as simple as they seem. You can't just compare two interest rates by looking at their numbers. You need to consider how often interest is added to your money, compounding. Effective interest rates. This tells you the real interest rate when interest compounds multiple times in a year. If you have two investments, go for the one with the higher effective interest rate, even if its nominal rate is lower. Real interest rates. Inflation makes money lose value over time. The Fisher equation helps find the real interest rate by subtracting expected inflation from the nominal interest rate. Cost of capital. Companies have a set rate they expect to earn from their investments. If an investment doesn't promise to make more than this rate, they won't do it, no matter how good it may sound. So, when choosing between investments or loans, it's important to understand these concepts to make the best financial decisions. Amortization. When you borrow money and need to pay it back in small pieces over time, you create a plan called an amortization schedule. This plan tells you how much to pay each time and for how long. Time value of money. It's important because money today is worth more than the same amount in the future. This is because you can use money today to make more money through investments. Example, let's say you buy a house for $100,000 with an 8% interest rate, paying it back over 30 years. Each month, you pay $734. In the end, you pay over $264,000. That's because of the time value of money. Why it matters. Pros. Financial planning. It helps you plan your payments when you borrow money, like for a house or a car. Investment understanding. You'll understand why it's important to invest your money to make it grow. Cons. Cost. You end up paying more than you borrowed because of interest. Complexity. Understanding all the calculations and schedules can be tricky. In simple terms, this text teaches you to be smart with money by considering how time affects its value, especially when dealing with loans and payments. Importance. Smart financial decisions. Understanding how money's value changes over time helps you make better decisions when borrowing or lending money. Avoid overpaying. It prevents you from paying more than you borrowed due to interest. Business and personal use. This concept is crucial for both personal finance decisions, like buying a house, and business financial planning. Example, imagine you want to buy a $100,000 house with an 8% interest rate over 30 years, making monthly payments. Without understanding time value of money, you might think you're just paying back $100,000. But because money today is worth more than money tomorrow, you'll end up paying around $264,000 in total. That's more than 2.5 times the original price. Pros. Smart decisions. Helps you make informed decisions about loans and investments. Prevents overpaying. Ensures you don't pay more than necessary due to interest. Useful for businesses. Crucial for businesses to plan finances and assess investments. Cons. Complex. Understanding and calculating these concepts can be challenging for some. Requires planning. You need to create an amortization schedule before taking a loan, which can be time-consuming. Potential for high costs. If you don't understand it, you might end up paying much more than you initially thought. In summary, understanding the time value of money is vital for making wise financial choices, whether in your personal life or in business. It prevents you from overpaying for loans and helps you plan for the future effectively. However, it can be complex and requires careful planning. Amortization. When you borrow money and need to pay it back in small amounts over time, it's important to understand how much you're actually paying because of time and interest. This process of calculating and planning these payments is called amortization. Amortization schedule. When you borrow or lend money with multiple smaller payments over time, you make an amortization schedule. This schedule decides how much you'll pay each time and how many times you'll need to pay to cover the borrowed amount. Both parties need to agree on this plan before borrowing starts. Time value of money. The idea that money today is worth more than the same amount of money in the future because you can invest it and earn more. When you borrow or lend money, you need to consider the money's changing value over time. Principal and interest. When you borrow money, you have to pay back not only the initial amount, the principal, but also a bit extra called interest. This extra amount is a percentage of the borrowed money and accounts for the time value of money. Example, let's say you want to buy a house for $100,000. You borrow this money with an 8% interest rate, and you plan to pay it back over 30 years in monthly installments. Even though the house cost $100,000, you'll end up paying more than $264,000 because of the interest over time. Importance. Understanding amortization helps you see how borrowing and lending money really work. It's crucial for making smart financial decisions, whether it's buying a house or managing a business loan. Pros. Helps you plan payments and understand how borrowing works. Allows for better financial decisions. Shows how interest and time affect your overall costs. Cons. Can be a bit complex to understand fully, especially when dealing with different interest rates and repayment periods. Assumes consistent interest rates, which might not always be the case in real life. By knowing about amortization and how money's value changes over time, you can make better decisions when borrowing or lending money. Calculating future and present value of money. When someone has financial data and needs to make a money-related decision, like investing or borrowing, they can figure out how much money will be worth in the future or how much it's worth right now. This helps them make smarter choices with their money. Time value of money components. There are 5 important parts to consider when using these calculations. Discount rate. This is like the interest rate that shows how much money can grow or change over time. Duration. How long the money is involved matters, as more time can lead to more change in value. Payment. The money coming in or going out is important to know. Present value. This is the money's value today. Future value. This is what the money will be worth in the future. Perpetuity. A perpetuity is a special type of money flow where payments happen forever. It's like an endless series of payments. For this kind of situation, you can find the present value by dividing the payment size by the interest rate. There's no future value because it goes on forever. Example. Imagine a situation where someone gets a fixed payment every year forever. To figure out its value today, you divide the payment by the interest rate. But if the payments grow by a certain percentage each year, you subtract the growth rate from the interest rate to find the value. Importance. Understanding how to calculate the value of money over time helps people make better financial decisions. It's crucial for making wise choices when dealing with investments or loans. Pros. Helps in making better decisions about money and investments. Shows how money's value changes over time. Useful for both personal finances and business decisions. Cons. Can be a bit complicated when dealing with different interest rates or growth rates. Assumes consistent interest rates and payment patterns, which may not always be accurate. By learning about these concepts, people can make informed choices about money and understand how its value changes over time. Importance of TVM components. TVM is like a tool to help you understand the value of money over time. There are 5 parts to TVM: discount rate, interest rate, duration, time, payment, money you receive or pay, present value, current worth of money, and future value, what money will be worth in the future. Understanding these parts is important for making smart financial choices. What's a perpetuity? A perpetuity is a never-ending stream of payments. It's like getting money forever, with no end date. There's no future value for a perpetuity because it keeps going on forever. Calculating perpetuities. To find the present value, how much it's worth now, of a perpetuity, you divide the payment amount by the interest rate. If the payments in a perpetuity grow over time, like increasing every year, it's called a growing perpetuity. you subtract the growth rate from the interest rate in the formula. So, in simple terms, this text is about how a graduate uses TVM to understand the value of money over time and how they deal with something called a perpetuity, which is like getting money forever. Understanding this stuff helps make better financial decisions. Importance of TVM components. TVM helps you figure out how money's value changes over time. There are 5 parts of TVM: discount rate, interest rate, duration, time, payment, money involved, present value, current money worth, and future value, what money will be worth later. Knowing these parts is essential for making good financial choices. What's a perpetuity? A perpetuity is like a never-ending flow of money. It's as if you keep getting paid forever, with no stopping. There's no future value for a perpetuity because it goes on forever. Calculating perpetuities. To find the present value, how much it's worth now, of a perpetuity, you divide the payment amount by the interest rate. If the payments in a perpetuity increase over time, it's called a growing perpetuity. You use a special formula that subtracts the growth rate from the interest rate. Example: imagine you have $1,000 and you want to know how much it's worth in 10 years. To figure this out, you need to consider TVM components like interest rate and time duration. Importance: TVM helps you make wise financial decisions by showing how money changes over time. Perpetuity understanding can be handy for things like valuing financial assets or planning for long-term payments. Pros: TVM helps you make informed decisions about loans, investments, and more. Perpetuity calculations are useful in finance, especially when dealing with investments with indefinite payouts. Cons: TVM can sometimes be a bit complex to understand. Perpetuity calculations may not apply to many real-life situations because most payments eventually end. In simple terms, this text explains how TVM and perpetuity are tools to understand the value of money over time. They help with smart money decisions, but can be a bit tricky to grasp. Present value, PV, and future value, FV, are 2 important financial concepts that help us understand how money's value changes over time. Future value, FV. FV tells us how much a certain amount of money will be worth in the future, assuming a specific interest rate. Imagine you have $100 and you want to know how much it will grow to in 5 years with an interest rate of 10%. FV helps you calculate that, and in this case, it would be $161. Present value, PV. PV is the opposite. It tells us how much a future amount of money is worth in today's terms. So, if you expect to receive $161 in 5 years with a 10% interest rate, PV helps you figure out that it's worth $100 today. Relationship between PV and FV. They're like 2 sides of the same coin. When you calculate FV, you're looking at the future value of money. When you calculate PV, you're looking at its value in the present. As interest rates or the number of time periods increase, FV also increases and PV decreases. The opposite happens when interest rates or time periods decrease. Why it's important: PV and FV are vital for making financial decisions. They help you figure out how much money is worth now and in the future. This is crucial for things like investments, loans, and retirement planning. It helps you decide where to put your money or whether to take a loan. Pros: helps you plan and make wise financial choices. Provides a clear understanding of how money grows or shrinks over time. Cons: can be a bit complex to calculate without financial tools or formulas. Assumes constant interest rates and time periods, which may not always be the case in real life. In simple terms, PV and FV help you figure out how money's value changes over time, which is super important for making smart financial decisions. It's like knowing how much your money will grow or shrink in the future, or how much a future amount is worth today. Present value and future value, how money changes over time explanation. When we talk about the present value, PV, and future value, FV, of money, we're looking at how the worth of money changes over time. These calculations help us understand the value of money today and how it could grow or shrink in the future. Present value, PV. Imagine you have some money that you'll receive in the future. The present value is the worth of that future money if we bring it back to today. It's like asking, if I had this money right now, how much would it be worth? This helps us see the value of future money in today's terms. Future value, FV. Future value is the opposite. It shows how much money that you have today will be worth in the future if it grows at a certain interest rate. It helps us understand how much money will be worth later on. Importance. These calculations are important because they help us make smart decisions about money. They let us see if an investment or a loan is a good idea. We can compare money's value now and in the future to decide what's best for us. Examples. Let's say you have $100. If you put it in a bank account with a 5% interest rate, what will it be worth in 5 years? That's the future value. On the other hand, if someone promises to give you $100 in 5 years, how much is it worth to you today? That's the present value. Pros. Helps us make wise financial decisions. Lets us compare value of money today and in the future. Useful for planning investments and loans. Cons. Might not consider unexpected changes in interest rates or economic conditions. Assumes constant interest rates and other factors, which may not always be the case. By understanding how present and future values work, we can make better choices about money and see how it changes over time. Performing time value of money calculations for multiple cash flows explanation. When we're dealing with multiple payments or investments that happen at different times and have different values, we can use time value of money calculations to find out how much they'll be worth in the future. This helps us understand the total future value of all these different payments. Future value of multiple cash flows. Imagine you have a bunch of different payments or investments, each with their own values and timings. To find out how much they'll be worth in the future, you calculate the future value for each one separately and then add them all up. Importance. This is important because it helps us figure out the total value of a bunch of different money-related things happening at different times. It's like adding up all these values to see the overall picture. Example. Suppose you're receiving $50 after 2 years, $100 after 5 years, and $150 after 10 years, all with an interest rate of 6%. You can calculate the future value of each of these payments using the formula and then add them up to find out how much all of these will be worth together in the future. Pros. Helps us see the combined future value of different payments or investments. Useful for planning and comparing different financial scenarios. Cons. Can become complex when dealing with irregular payments or different interest rates. Assumes constant interest rates and other factors, which might not always be true. By understanding how to calculate the future value of multiple cash flows, we can better understand the overall value of various money-related situations happening at different times. Calculating the future value, FV, of multiple cash flows means figuring out how much a bunch of payments or investments will be worth at a certain point in the future. This is important because it helps you understand the total value of money you'll have down the road when you have many different payments or investments happening at different times. Simple example. Let's say you have 3 investments. You put $100 in a savings account for 2 years at an annual interest rate of 5%. You invest $200 in stocks for 3 years and expect a 10% return. You receive a $50 gift from a friend today. Now, you want to know how much all these investments will be worth in 5 years. Importance. Helps you plan for your financial future by showing you the total value of all your investments or payments. Useful for making decisions like saving for retirement, evaluating business projects, or understanding the value of your investments over time. Pros. Provides a clear picture of your financial future. Helps with long-term planning and investment decisions. Cons. Calculating the FV of multiple cash flows manually can be time-consuming if the cash flows are irregular. If the cash flows don't happen at regular intervals or earn different interest rates, it can be more challenging to calculate. In a nutshell, Finding the FV of multiple cash flows is like adding up all your money from different investments or payments to see how much you'll have in the future. It's important for financial planning, but it can be tricky if the cash flows are complicated. Performing time value of money calculations for future value of multiple cash flows explanation. When we have different payments or investments happening at various times, and we want to know their combined future value, we need to calculate the future value, FV, of each cash flow and then add them up. This helps us figure out the total worth of all these cash flows at a specific point in the future. Steps: define the future time you want to find the value for. Calculate the future value for each individual cash flow using the formula. Add up all the future values to find the total future value of all the cash flows combined. Importance: this process is important because it helps businesses and individuals understand the total value of their multiple cash flows over time. It allows them to see how their investments or payments add up and make better financial decisions. Example: imagine you're receiving $50 every year for 5 years. Each year, you put that money in an account that earns 8% interest. You want to know the total value of all these payments in 5 years. You would calculate the future value of each $50 payment using the formula and then add them all together to get the combined future value. Pros: helps you see the total value of multiple payments or investments. Useful for planning and comparing different cash flows. Provides a clear understanding of how money grows or changes over time. Cons: can get complicated when dealing with various payment sizes, interest rates, and timing. Assumes constant interest rates and regular intervals, which may not always be the case. By understanding how to calculate the future value of multiple cash flows, individuals and businesses can make informed decisions about their finances and see the bigger picture of their financial activities. Calculating present value for multiple cash flows explanation. When you have different payments or investments happening at different times, and you want to know their combined worth today, you need to calculate the present value, PV, of each cash flow and then add them up. This helps you understand the total value of all these cash flows in today's terms. Steps: decide on the specific point in time, present, you want to find the combined value for. Discount each individual cash flow to that present time using the formula. Add up all the present values to find the total present value of all the cash flows combined. Importance: this process is important because it helps individuals and businesses see the total value of their multiple cash flows in today's money. It helps them make informed decisions about investments or payments. Example: imagine you have different payments of $50, $100, and $75 coming to you in 1 year, 3 years, and 5 years, respectively. You want to know the combined value of all these payments today. You would calculate the present value of each payment using the formula and then add them all together to get the total present value. Pros: helps you see the total value of multiple payments or investments today. Useful for making financial decisions based on today's value. Gives a clearer picture of how money changes over time. Cons: can be complex if payments happen at irregular intervals or have varying interest rates. Assumes constant interest rates and regular intervals, which might not always be true. By understanding how to calculate the present value of multiple cash flows, individuals and businesses can better assess the worth of their financial activities and make informed decisions about their money. Calculating the present value, PV, of multiple cash flows is like figuring out how much all those future payments or investments are worth in today's terms. This is important for making financial decisions. Example: imagine you have 2 investments. $200 you'll receive in 2 years with a 6% interest rate and $300 you'll get in 3 years with a 5% interest rate. You want to know how much these are worth in today's dollars. Importance: it helps you understand the total value of future payments or investments right now. This is crucial for planning and decision-making. For example, you might want to know the current value of all your future retirement income to see if it's enough. Pros: enables you to make informed decisions about the value of your future cash flows, helps with financial planning and assessing the profitability of projects or investments. Cons. Calculating the PV manually for each cash flow can be complex if they're not uniform or don't have the same start date. Assumes constant interest rates and regular intervals, which may not always be the case in real life. In simple terms, finding the PV of multiple cash flows is about adding up all the values of your future money in today's terms. It's vital for planning and making smart financial decisions, but it can be challenging when the cash flows are irregular or have different start dates and interest rates. Time value of money, TVM, is a cool concept that helps us understand how money's value changes over time. It's like comparing the worth of money you have now to the worth of money you'll have in the future. Imagine you have $100 today and you have two options. Either spend it right away or save it for a year. If you decide to save it, it might earn some interest or grow over time. So after a year, that $100 could become, let's say, $110. On the other hand, if you spend it now, you won't have that chance to earn extra money from it. Now, why is this important? Well, the concept of TVM is essential for making smart financial decisions. When you understand TVM, you can figure out things like investments. If you have some money and you're thinking about investing it, TVM helps you calculate how much it could grow over time. This helps you choose the best investment option, loans and debts. If you borrow money, like for a car or a house, TVM helps you understand how much you'll end up paying back over time. It helps you plan your payments and decide which loan is better for you. Savings goals. If you have a goal, like buying a new gaming console or going on a vacation, TVM helps you figure out how much money you need to save regularly to reach that goal. Budgeting. TVM also helps you understand the impact of inflation on your money's purchasing power. It reminds you that prices of things usually go up over time, so you need to budget and save accordingly. In a nutshell, TVM helps you make wise money choices by considering the value of money over time. It's a super helpful concept that will guide you through financial decisions and secure a better future for yourself. Let's break down the 5 components of time value of money, TVM, and understand why each one is important. Discount rate. The discount rate is like a magic number that helps us compare the value of money at different points in time. It represents the interest rate or the return you could earn on your money if you invested it. For example, if you put $100 in a savings account with a 5% annual interest rate, the discount rate would be 5%. Importance. The discount rate is crucial because it helps us bring future values of money back to the present. It allows us to figure out how much money in the future is worth in today's terms, which is really helpful for making decisions about investments or loans. Time term. Time in TVM simply means the number of years you're looking into the future or the number of years you're waiting for something to happen. It could be as short as a few months or as long as several years. Importance. The time component is essential because it affects how money changes in value over time. The longer you wait, the more the value of money can change due to interest or inflation. Payment. Cash flow. A payment refers to the amount of money you receive or pay out at a specific point in time. It could be a single lump sum or a series of regular payments. Importance. Payments are significant because they directly impact the overall value of money. Whether you're receiving money, like salary or investment returns, or making payments, like loan installments, understanding their timing and amount helps you plan your finances wisely. Present value. Present value is the current worth of a future payment or investment, taking into account the time and discount rate. It shows how much money you need to have right now to match a future amount. Importance. Present value is crucial for decision making. It helps you determine if an investment or a loan is a good deal in today's terms. By calculating the present value, you can compare different opportunities and see which one makes the most sense financially. Future value. Future value is the amount of money an investment or a payment will grow to in the future, considering the time and the discount rate. Importance. Future value helps you see the potential growth of your money. It's particularly useful for long-term investments and understanding the power of compound interest. Understanding and using these components in TVM calculations is vital for various financial scenarios. Whether it's making smart investment decisions, planning for major purchases, or managing loans, TVM helps you see the real impact of your money over time. It empowers you to make informed choices that can lead to a more secure and prosperous financial future. So, by grasping these components, you'll be better equipped to handle your finances and achieve your financial goals with confidence. Let's break down the concept of rate I slash V. Rate I slashed lie. What is it? The rate, or I slash V, stands for the interest rate, which is usually expressed as a percentage. This rate helps us understand how much interest we can earn or need to pay on an investment or a loan. It tells us how fast our money can grow if we invest it or how much we have to pay back if we borrow money. How is it used? This interest rate can be applied over different time periods, like annually, monthly, or even quarterly. If it's something other than an annual rate, we make a simple adjustment. For example, if the annual rate is 6% and we want to know the monthly rate, we divide 6% by 12, the number of months in a year. So the monthly rate would be 0.5%, 6% slash 12. Why is it important? Knowing the interest rate is super important because it affects our money decisions. For example, savings. If you put money in a savings account with a high interest rate, your savings can grow faster. Investments. Understanding the interest rate helps you decide where to invest your money to get the best returns. Loans. When you take a loan, the interest rate determines how much extra you need to pay back on top of the borrowed money. Financial planning. Whether it's saving for a big purchase or retirement, the interest rate plays a big role in reaching your financial goals. So, the rate I slash Lee on the TIBA2 plus calculator is a super handy tool that helps you make better financial choices by understanding the impact of interest rates on your money over time. Term N. What is it? The term, or N, on the TIBA2 plus calculator represents the time period for which you want to calculate something. It helps us figure out how long we're looking into the future or the duration for which we want to analyze an investment or a loan. How is it used? This time period can be measured in years, but it can also be for shorter periods, like months or quarters. When dealing with a time period other than a year, we just adjust the calculation. For example, if you're looking at an investment for 3 years but want to know the results on a monthly basis, you multiply 3 years by 12 months, since there are 12 months in a year, and you get 36 months. Why is it important? Knowing the time period is crucial because it tells us how long we have to wait for our investment to grow or how long it'll take to pay off a loan. Here are some reasons why it's essential. Investment planning. If you're saving for a big purchase or retirement, knowing how many years you have until then helps you plan and save accordingly. Loan management. When you take a loan, the term determines how many years you have to make repayments, and this affects the total amount you'll end up paying back. Interest accumulation. The longer your money is invested, the more time it has to earn interest and grow. So, the term N on the TIBA2 plus calculator is a helpful tool that allows you to consider the impact of time on your financial decisions. Whether you're investing, saving, or managing loans, understanding the time period helps you make informed choices and work towards your financial goals effectively. Payment, PMT. What is it? Payment, or PMT on the TIBA2 plus calculator, refers to a specific sum of money that you either pay or receive regularly for a certain period of time. It could be money you need to pay each month for a loan or money you receive as regular income or returns on an investment. How is it used? You use the PMT feature when you want to find out how much money you need to pay or receive periodically. For example, if you're getting a loan to buy a car, the PMT helps you figure out your monthly loan installment. Or if you're investing in a savings account, The PMT can tell you how much interest or income you'll receive regularly. Why is it important? Understanding the PMT is vital for managing your finances. Here's why it's important. Loan planning. When you take a loan, knowing the regular payment amount, like monthly installments, helps you budget and make sure you can afford the loan. Budgeting. If you have regular income or expenses, knowing the PMT helps you plan your monthly budget and keep track of your finances. Investment decisions. If you're considering an investment that gives you periodic returns, knowing the PMT helps you see the potential income it can generate. In a nutshell, the payment, PMT, on the TIBA2 Plus calculator is a handy tool that allows you to calculate regular payments or income over time. It helps you make sound financial decisions, stay on top of your budget, and ensures you're well prepared for any financial commitments you take on. Present value, PV. What is it? Present value, or PV, on the TIBA2 Plus calculator represents the current worth of a sum of money that you either possess right now or expect to receive in the future. It's like figuring out how much that future money would be worth if we looked at it in today's terms. How is it used? You use the PV feature when you want to understand the value of money over time. For example, if you expect to receive $1,000 a year from now, you can calculate its present value to find out how much it's worth right now. This is helpful because money has the potential to grow or shrink over time due to interest or inflation. Why is it important? Understanding the present value is essential for several reasons. Investment decisions. When you're considering an investment, knowing the present value of potential future returns helps you see if it's a good deal right now. Loan planning. If you're thinking about taking a loan, knowing the present value of future repayments helps you see the total cost in today's dollars. Budgeting. When planning for future expenses or savings goals, knowing the present value helps you estimate how much money you need to set aside now. In simpler terms, present value is like a time-traveling calculator that helps you compare the value of money from different points in time. It's essential for making informed financial choices, whether it's investing wisely, managing loans, or budgeting for your future goals. By considering present value, you can make sure you're making the most of your money and securing a brighter financial future. Future value, FV. What is it? Future value, or FV, on the TIBA2 Plus calculator represents the amount of money a specific sum you have right now or expect to receive will grow into by a future date. It's like looking at how much that money will be worth in the future, considering potential interest or growth. How is it used? You use the FV feature when you want to see how your money can grow over time. For instance, if you invest $1,000 today, the FV calculation helps you figure out how much it will be worth after a specific number of years, considering the interest it can earn. Why is it important? Understanding future value is important for several reasons. Investment planning. When you invest money, knowing the future value helps you see the potential return on your investment. Savings goals. If you have a savings goal, like buying a car or going on a trip, knowing the future value helps you determine how much you need to save to reach that goal. Financial decision making. Whether it's deciding between different investment options or comparing the cost of borrowing money, future value helps you make better financial choices. In simpler terms, future value is like a crystal ball that shows you the growth of your money over time. It's a powerful tool for making smart financial decisions and understanding how your money can work for you in the future. By considering future value, you can set achievable financial goals, plan for a comfortable retirement, and make informed choices that lead to a brighter financial future. Present value, PV. What is it?